Tibet majestically stands on the roof of the world. She rises to fame in the world because of her unique culture. Her azure blue skies, leaps and bounds of plains, holy mountains and lakes, everlasting snows, give people a constant picture of beauty. Her deepest penetration of Buddhism is another source of attraction. At times climbing high peaks, and at times dropping into gorges, the ancient Chama pathway twists and turns through the mountains. Today, the path has been replaced by the Sichuan-Tibet Highway. However, along its remnants, we can still trace its secrets. Traveling into Tibet by the Sichuan-Tibet Highway along the Salween River, we arrive at the village of Yanjing, which lies beside the river. It was named for its salt production. The history of salt making in Yanjing can be traced back to the period of Zambu's 1,300 years ago. The natives carried salt water for generations by this path. Maybe it can be said this is the oldest method of making salt in the world. A terrace of flats for drying salt can be seen along the riverbank, and now appears as a beautiful stretch of scenery. Yanjing is the village where the Nashi people live in community. The land here is fertile and scenic. Here you will understand the simplicity of the Nashi. The Catholic Church in Yanjing, the only one in Tibet, was built in 1855. The tale of its origin is still very popular among people to this day. The Kham region is full of holy mountains, lakes, and hot springs owing to its particular geographic structure. The hot spring in Chuzika in the Markham County is situated at the foot of Mount Dameyon, 10 kilometers away from Yanjing. The legend has it that Mount Dameyon is the third daughter of Mount Meili, and once by chance at her visit to Chuzika, she saw the people there were in misery. Because of a plague, she shed tears and made her mind up to give up her life to save the people from misery. And thus, she transformed herself into Mount Dameyon, and the hot spring at Chuzika is said to have been formed by her tears. Chidzika is pleasant in scenery, topped with snow and bottomed with forests. Here you can enjoy the sight of 4 seasons on one mountain. Drag Nunnery in Daya County is the largest nunnery in Tibet. It stands against a hill. The assembly hall in the center is the highest of the buildings, and the hall inside is elegantly decorated in silk drapes and tankas. Of the many precious objects in Drek, the horn of a deer is considered the most precious of all. The horn is said to have grown by itself to the size of a human head. The nuns say it's the head of Tsongkhapa, the founder of the Glukpa order. Therefore, it is preserved as the most valued object in the nunnery, though it is only the horn of a deer. Not far from Drek is Shantou Monastery, another famous site in Daya County. The 15th day of the 4th lunar month is traditionally believed to be the birthday of Buddha Shakyamuni. Pilgrims from all over the land flock here for worship on that day. The assembly hall in the Shantou Monastery is filled with incense smoke and hundreds of flickering butter lamps. On the altars are piles of offerings. From morning till evening, the chanting of monks never ceases. This statue is the most precious object in the monastery. It's said to be as old as the Shakyamuni image brought to Tibet by Princess Wencheng. The murals and tankas in the Shantou Monastery are various. They are perfect in workmanship. They provide not only a great enjoyment for sightseeing, but are also precious objects of historical and artistic value. Rock carving in Dayak enjoys fame in Tibet. Buddhist images and inscriptions carved on rocks here were done in 1804. It is said they were carved jointly by Tibetans and the craftsmen brought to Tibet by Princess Wencheng from the Tang court. They are the oldest rock carvings in the Kham region. They were worked in the period of the Tibetan temples and are almost complete. The Buddhist images and inscriptions carved on the rocks display beautiful craftsmanship. Of the great many images carved on this massive piece of rock, the images of Shakyamuni and his two chief disciples are the most prominent of all. Through a study of these rock carvings, it's not hard to imagine the ancient Tang period. There are inscriptions carved in Tibetan and Chinese onto these images of gods, telling the time of the work. The greatest value of these carvings is the inscriptions depicting them as a joint work of the Tibetans and Han, a rarity in the whole of Tibet. If we are to suppose the carvings of these Buddhist images are symbolic work of art, then what are we to say about the sculptures and images unbelievably carved on Mount Dola in the Pakshol County? Are we to say they're worked by a man or by some other creatures from a different planet? Climbing upon Mount Dola, we see rocks covered with carvings of the six-syllable mantra. The natives believe these carvings either grew out of the rocks by themselves or they were the works of gods. Therefore, Mount Dola is a sacred mountain in the hearts of the natives, who make frequent visits for blessings. Some believe the carvings of gods and prayers on these rocks were done by men, but the questions of who carved them, when they were done, and how such a project was completed still remain unanswered. Don't think this cave in the Pakshol County seems incredible to the eye, but it's really a place where Padmasambhava visited. In the cave to this day is a stone with a footprint which is said to have been left by Padmasambhava at his visit here. The natives say if you can come out of this cave by wriggling your body through these rocks at the entrance, you are a man free of sin. It's interesting to have a try. Ancient people described the beauty of West Lake in Hangzhou as the crystal blue water upon the hazy horizon. and that is what Lake Ranwu here is like during the rainy seasons. Ranwu Lake in Pakshol is 3,800 meters above sea level. The famous Laku Glacier feeds into the lake. Ranwu Lake is surrounded by mighty ranges clad in snows with a zone of forest at their feet. The lake nestles like a giant mirror under the snows, whose peaks are reflected in the lake. The waters of Ranwu Lake are the source of Balu and Zampu, a tributary of the Zampu River. The beauty of Ranwu ranks highest among the many lakes in Kham. Its beauty is intoxicating. The pastures, the forests, the glaciers, and the snows all combine to form a scene of exquisite beauty.